Well, hey friends, Al here from New Life Brizzy, and it's such a joy to update us as a family on how God's mission is being outworked here in the heart of our city. Being in the city centre brings with it such a strange and unique opportunity because every single Sunday is itself sort of like a missional exercise. People stumble into our church, they might be living it rough on the streets or themselves curious about faith, and one story particularly stands out. Late last year, a young man who just finished his PhD down south had moved to Brisbane looking for a new job, stumbled into church curious about life and faith. No faith background, no relationship with God, but actually heard one of our pastors preach and talk about Alpha, and so they ended up joining us for Alpha in term 1 and 2 of this year, and they themselves came to meet and follow Jesus. That individual now joins us for men's prayer, and just the other day I heard them say, I'm learning to pray out loud. I'm nervous every time, but man, it's such an adventure. And I just remember thinking, oh, you've got it. You're on your way. You're actually meeting Jesus and becoming more like him. Something that's really stirred our hearts as we think about growing as disciples this year is just the place of prayer. We could think of no better way to grow as disciples than to invest in prayer. We really think that prayer is more caught than taught, and it's for that reason we're thinking through all different ways we can give infrastructure to the life of prayer at New Life Brizzy. Just recently we set up a prayer room and we've launched that, and the hope is that this consecrated space would just become a rhythmic piece in the calendar of those who follow Jesus here at New Life Brizzy. And the whole sort of passage that gives inspiration to this would be Hosea 10 verse 12, which has been sort of like an anthem for me in particular in this past little season. It says this, it says, sow righteousness for yourselves, reap the fruit of unfailing love, and break up your unplowed ground, for it is time to seek the Lord until he comes and showers his righteousness on you. We really know that crisis precedes renewal. And a key ingredient in crisis before renewal is to meet with God in prayer, to march forward, not with hubris or pride, but on our knees, bended in communion with God, so we might contend for what he wants to do, his definition of success, his mission here on earth as it is in heaven. I'm so excited about the way that God is seeing more people more like Jesus here in the city. There's so much to report, so much to share. Even recently, we ran our second ever fundraiser campaign for City Meals, a ministry of New Life Care that bubbled up here under the leadership of people like Lucy Vandenbos and Natalie and Richard Smith and James and Jennifer Hogg. And we've raised $11,500 for this ministry, which makes meals for the homeless, giving them bread and sustenance, but also that as a means by which to introduce them to the bread of life, Jesus Christ. And so this is actually what I love about our mission and vision. We gather the lost, Lewin community, grow as disciples, go on mission. It's so clear, yet so empowering. And the way we do it in Brizzy and Cooley and New Life Rabina and whatever other church plant comes forward into the years, we're going to see God's people take it forward, contextualizing and incarnating what it is we're all seeking to do together. Renewal in motion, more people, more like Jesus. What an absolute dream.
Hey church, it's Jason here from New Life Rabina. Myself and a couple of other people are going to update you with everything that we've been doing here at New Life over the last year with the 4Gs. Firstly, I want to talk to you about gathering the lost. This year we have seen an openness and a receptivity of people inviting their friends along to Alpha. We've seen a bunch of people come who've never experienced church before, walk into this building, be greeted with hospitality, have a warm meal, and be open to the gospel. We've actually seen people come to faith through that, and we heard this wonderful story recently where someone who came to church with all of these barriers up and they experienced grace and love in this place. They responded to the gospel, then they got baptized, and because of what God's been doing in their heart, they now want to live a life where they're serving and bringing glory to God's name out in their community. The other really exciting thing that we have been doing with Alpha is Youth Alpha. This year we launched Youth Alpha, and we saw a bunch of young kids once again invite their friends along and show them what it means to be a follower of Christ.
We have seen over half our newcomers this year find their way towards a small group and serving on a team. It's been wonderful to see how God is really stirring people's hearts to find rich and deep community and to serve and love God's people in our midst. One way we've seen God stir people's hearts to glue one another in community is one of our recent Pathways participants was so stirred and excited and encouraged by what's happening in the life of our church that he invited the rest of his Pathways cohort to meet him the next Sunday, come and enjoy another church service and invite others into that space, that they were able to continue to make friendships that will last for a long time. It's wonderful that God is stirring and moving amongst us and growing a heart and a hunger in us to see one another glued into community together.
We now are getting to talk about how people are growing as disciples, and we're seeing people grow as disciples across the life of the church with the way that they're engaging in our Sunday services, the way they're engaging in small groups, and also one of the things that we've just started this year at New Life Youth is our midweek discipleship program. And what we are seeing is each week around 15 young people rock up week in, week out and do a Bible study together, explore some of the big topics of life together, and just really grow as disciples of Jesus together to become more like Jesus.
I'd love to share about how we are all called to go on mission. We are seeing this happening in every environment, and I want to share a few with you today. So we've been hearing about people sharing their faith in their workplace, starting prayer meetings in their workplace. We've been seeing people go on overseas mission trips with our partners. We've seen people discover and partner with Welcome Home projects for refugees finding home and community here in Australia. We're seeing people go on mission in all environments, and we're so encouraged by that. So whether you're gathering the lost, gluing into community, growing as a disciple, or going on mission, we hope that you're thriving in your discipleship.